Hello, everybody, and welcome to Forget Me Not Village and another streamcast as Pam wraps up her time in Amsterdam at the Hogeweyk Dementia Village. And what a week it has been. How you doing? I want to say good morning because we're live here on this side of the planet, but I know it's nighttime where you're
Yeah.
at.
Yeah, no, it's late. It's 6 o'clock here, and it's just been such a full time, so much stuff to do, and COVID really, really hurt this country. I think far more than what we've been seeing in the states. I mean, these streets are bare, shops are closed, unless it's soccer team, and that's a different story. But
Yeah.
anyway, so yes.
I know you've gotten to do a little bit of sightseeing, and I know that there's incredible history there in Amsterdam. But talk to me about uh, we talked to you a couple of days ago, and you had just seen the Dementia Village, and you and Debbie and Shelley and Dr. Wright's brains were just overflowing with all kinds of things. So let's kind of take us through how things went yesterday and what a lot of the conversations were about. I'm trying to find little ways to give you little snippets so that it's not you know, because so much has happened. But take us back to a couple days ago when you went back and some of the things that you did there in the village.
The first thing we did when we went back was actually tour the village in a lot more detail than what we did on the first day. And I was looking for a lot of the behaviors and things that we see here in the States, a lot of bad behavior, arguing, just all kinds of bad behavior that we are constantly exposed to in our care homes. Brian, there was absolutely none of it. None of it. People were walking around casually over and over and over, like they do with dementia. Nobody stopped them, but they're observed from a distance. So there are caregivers that are care mates, however you want to call it, that actually keep an eye on them all the time. But the people don't know it. So they assess what's going on to see if there needs to be an intervention. 99 times out of 100, there doesn't need to be any problem because these people are just out walking around, even in the rain. They had raincoats on and hats, and not a one of them went out without being fully dressed. And when I asked them about it, they said, well, that's because that's what they do in their private life before they came here. So everything mirrors pretty much everything they did in their private life. Everything from having a glass of wine or a beer during the day to just sitting outside in the sunshine and smoking a cigarette, believe it or not. They have a pond that's not enclosed. I mean, I was thinking of all the rules and regs that I have to do for my care home, and they wouldn't do it here because they said they're so used to having the ponds around. They're so used to having that in their everyday living that you don't need to protect them from it because they know they shouldn't go there. And it's like, wow, unbelievable. And somewhere in the late afternoon, as all this information was sinking in, honest to God, Brian, all I could do was cry. I had to leave and go out in the hall because to think that that facility, that way of care was available for Rich, but we didn't have access to it, just broke my heart. Just absolutely broke my heart what Rich had to go through and what so many other people go through when he could have had a very high quality of life up until he passed away. They have 170 residents there, and there's only 3 or 4 of them that are actually bedridden, and they make them get up every single day and get out, even if it's in a wheelchair. They won't let them stay in bed. By the time they are bedridden and they can't, do anything, there's only like a 2 to 3 day time frame before they die. Literally, not where we are, where they're in bed for months, curled up in a pearl state, which is the last stages. But these people are all severe. They're last stage dementia, every single one of them. And you would never know it. Absolutely never know it. I was just totally blown away. We have to get something like this done for our people there because the difference is like night and day. When you meet the owners, when you meet Jeanette and Eloy and you talk to them, you see how they really are totally committed to making this better. And as I told you before, after our conversation that we had about a year and a half ago, they are expanding. They're changing it from the conversation that I had, and they're going to include more family activities. They can't, the government won't let them do a setup like what I'm doing, where the families actually live together in a facility because the government won't let them. But they're going to try and get as close as possible. Um, I it just astounded me. I told him, I said, "Well, we talked about this about a year and a half ago, and you didn't have this in your plan at that time." And she said, "No." She said, "After we talked to you, she said, we've included it. We're expanding it." She says, "I'm no longer happy with what I see here. We're changing this." And it was like,
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, that's good. I said, "What can I do to help you?"
Right.
So,
Wow, that's amazing. One of the questions I have for you though, so how many things or what are some of the thoughts that are now confirmed in your mind about what you've been proposing for the Forget Me Not Village in Roseburg now that you've seen these
yeah.
things in action? That
And
list is probably long. So maybe
yes,
the top two or three things where in your heart of hearts now you've seen it in practice and you can deliver that here.
absolutely. And they confirmed that. They said, "We love Pam's concept. We know this is going to work. We've been doing it for 20 years. You're just expanding on it. And we're really excited. We want to keep up with what you're doing." I mean, the whole 9 yards, they were just as excited about what I'm doing as I was about what they were doing. So they said, "We know it's going to work. It's worked for us. It's going to work for you."
But are there a couple
So,
of things specifically that now are really locked in for you that
yeah,
maybe were maybe
even
a question in your mind before?
even Jim, I've often had physician comments that, "Oh, you have to have psychotropic drugs." And we covered that subject and they said, "Absolutely not. You don't need psychotropic drugs with behavior management." And that's after 20 years and 170 people, and they're expanding to 200. And it's just like, yes, I just can't convince physicians that that's the case. And of course, Jim, being a physician in a care facility, he was absorbing that like crazy. He says, "No, I don't agree with him." He said, "Because I'm asked to prescribe them way too often, and for silly reasons, that they want these drugs." And he says, I don't believe in that. That's why I'm doing my own hometown. Um, I mean, it was just like the light went on for all of us sitting in there, that what was totally possible.
Mhm.
The training that they do, the experience. And they asked about turnover, how much turnover do they have? Like, we have humongous amount of turnover. And she said, "We have only a 15% turnover." And I said, "Well," I said, "it looks to me like your caregivers are happy with what they're doing. They're not working extra long shifts. They're not working shorthanded. They're not, trying to get people to conform to breakfast, lunch, and dinner and certain foods. And they don't. The resident still gets choice of food, what they want to eat, all the way up until they die. Goodness sakes. I just, I couldn't believe it. If I hadn't been there, done that, seen that, I would say, yeah, according to what we have in the States, it's impossible. But we have got to change it. We have to bring that knowledge, that expertise here. And like I said in the other broadcast, they took the money that they didn't spend on drugs and they used it to improve the lives. And by that, I mean, they have all kinds of activities, from theater to bingo to music concerts. I mean, they take them to the gym and they swim or do whatever they want to. They just use it to benefit the resident because they don't spend all the money on drugs.
So, how do you think? What's the next step for you when you get back here? What do you think is going to be different about what you've been talking about, or just take me to how this is going to translate when you get back here and kind of settle back into life and the effort you're putting together for your Forget Me Not Village.
I will talk about what I have actually seen, because I really wanted to get the feel. You can always see something on the internet or Zoom or whatever, and unless you get the feel of the people and how they're walking and conversing and all the things that goes on. They were so happy, and they would wave and say hi, and I mean, oh my goodness, they were happy. And it's like, darn, yeah, what can I say? I said, I've seen it. I know it works. I know it works. Um, so will it change anything? No, I'm still down the same route I was going. Um, but yes, feeling it, seeing it, talking to them, and knowing that I can rely on them for help when I need to. They explain the reasons why they have the different cultures in the neighborhoods, because different lifestyles. Some people like classier stuff. Some people like just you know, plain old stuff, and nothing gets put away. You have silverware out, you have knives out, you have plates out. I mean, all kinds of stuff that we don't have out in a care facility. And they can have anything they want, any time of day they want. All they have to do is ask for it. They can go among other people's rooms, they can have friends. We watched a couple walking around outside, and they'd go to this little tent and they would bring out a chair and sit for a while, and then they'd walk away and they'd come back and sit in the chair again with seemingly no one watching them, but there was someone watching them. So they're constantly monitored by someone. They have got, out of 170 people, they have 120 volunteers, which was mind blowing, because we don't have volunteers like that in our care homes. 120 unpaid volunteers that help. Yeah.
Interesting. So right now, we just want to make sure people know that you can see more about Pam's vision, her story about her life with her husband, Rich, and the way he was treated with dementia, and their entire story. You can see all of that at forgetmenotVillage.org. And there are really two projects, in case you're new to what's happening here with Pam. One of them is the full-fledged large-scale village that is proposed for just south of Roseburg on Highway 99. And then what's being called Forget Me Not Mini, which is really a 2-suite location in Roseburg off Airport Road with several amenities and more all the time, that is coming online, which will be sort of I don't want to really minimize it by calling it a pilot project, Pam, but it is a step into this way of thinking and treating people. And you can see more about that as well online at forgetmenotVillage.org. Volunteers, donations, and other professional expertise is certainly welcome for both of those projects, Pam. That's how I put it. What else would you add to that?
Oh gosh, I'm still so overwhelmed. It's going to take a while to process everything I've seen and heard and done. And Jeanette and Eloy, the founders, are just totally amazing people, very sincere, and really love the residents. And they know them all. They know them by name. They know who the family is. They'll go outside and talk to them. I mean, it's just the whole ambience was absolutely incredible. And like I said, I had to leave the room because it was so overwhelming to see that there was something out there that would have been so much better than what Rich went through. And it is just sad. It's sad that we in America are still very much backwoods when it comes to dementia care. And we need to learn from them and expand on it. And like America, we need to make it better. We need to make it better. So they'll look at us and say, look, if we could only do it that way, that would be the ultimate. That would be the best. And keeping an open mind to change, for sure.
All right. Well, watch out, folks. Pam Spetta is on fire.
And gonna change come heck or high water, let me tell you.
As if you weren't before. Yeah. Well, good update. Get some rest. I know you have a big travel day tomorrow, and I hope you travel safe, obviously, and get home soon. And we will be in touch again very, very soon. We're hoping that people share these links on Facebook and on YouTube to more people, so that more people are aware of what's happening here. By the way, a question has popped up here coming from Facebook. Carolyn wants to know, do residents pay for their care out of pocket? I guess you could answer that from the Hogeweyk point of view, but
Yes.
also from the model that you're trying to build here in Roseburg.
Yes, in Hogewey, the government does pay for a lot of it, but extra amenities that they want, they basically get one program for free. By a program, I mean a packet of bingo that they can do twice a week, or a theater type of thing they want to do. If they want to do more than one, then you have to pay for them. And the same thing with the family. If the family wants to participate, which they can, they're going to pay as well. But for the care itself, um, no, they don't pay much in addition. Perhaps a little bit, but not much.
And then what about for the model you're building?
For the model I'm building, because we are actively trying not to get the state involved, we can keep the prices very, very low. And right now, what that means is $2,500 a couple to live in the house, and then all of the amenities of the house is free. So, and that will include food, at least one meal a day, depending upon how much the budget goes. But
Sure.
keeping it inexpensive so people can afford it, not financially devastated type of thing. Amsterdam's got a different social system altogether. And it works well, but like Jeanette said, they've got their fingers in your pocket all the time. They oversee every little itty bitty thing going on, which we do too in our country. But our country's got a heck of a lot more rules and regulations than they do there. So, yeah, interesting concept. And I really was disappointed when she said their government wouldn't allow them to have families living together, which I think is a huge mistake.
Right.
So maybe by the time they've invited me to come back, so maybe by the time I get my facility open and they can actually see how it works, then we can approach it there and see if they can change it. But they are definitely changing it as close to my model as they possibly can, which was totally amazing. I mean, I was dumbfounded that that's what they're doing.
Well, we have a message from another viewer as well. So, all right. Well, bye, Mom, I guess is the way we'll end this one.
Okay.
Once again, obviously, thanks for the time, clearly. But also, what a great report. We look forward to seeing you back on this side of the planet when you get home. So travel safe, Pam. And of course, people can always send you email and get to be in touch with you there at pam@forgetmenotVillage.org.
I can't wait to get back and see the progress on the house. See how much they got done while I was gone. So got my fingers crossed. We're going to have everything in place for, I hope, very soon.
All right.
Okay.
Safe travels, my friend.
All right. Have a great day.